Welcome to Quantumly Kinky with Dr. Veda, where we talk about sex, Eastern medicine, and character development for the multidimensional you. Episode 49, Turned on Living, the medicine of aliveness. Welcome back to Quantumly Kinky, where modern sexuality meets ancient medicine, and every episode helps you to rewire your body for more pleasure, power, presence, and turn on. I am your host, Dr. Veda, and today I want to talk about something that sits at the center of everything I do, clinically, erotically, spiritually, and that's turned on living. And before your mind goes straight to sex, I want you to pause, because being turned on is not the same thing as being always horny. Turned on living isn't about constant arousal, constant desire, or chasing pleasure. It's about being deeply alive inside your body. It's about your life force being online and activated. Most people aren't exhausted because they're doing too much. They're exhausted because they're disconnected from their sensation. They're functional, they're productive, but they're not lit from within. And in my medicine, Eastern medicine that is, vitality, pleasure, and longevity were never separate conversations. Turned on living is not indulgence. It's diagnostic. So first, let's get something clear. Turned on living is not constant positivity or just about your sexual performance. Turned on living is not productivity with some sensual filter or a wellness aesthetic. And it's definitely not hustle culture dressed up in sexy lingerie. Being turned on does not mean being stimulated all the time. In fact, overstimulation is one of the fastest ways to shut your system down. But turned on living, it does mean that your nervous system can feel. Your body can respond. Your energy can move, and your desire, well, it can speak. Turned on living means you're in a relationship with your sensations instead of numbing them, overriding them, or performing through them. Turned on living is when your yes is deeply honest, and your no, well, it has integrity. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it is coherent. And here's where I put my doctor hat on. In my clinic, libido is not some luxury metric. It's not optional, and it's definitely not cosmetic. Libido is diagnostic. Your desires, they reflect your nervous system safety. They reflect your hormonal signaling, your blood flow. Your desires reflect your emotional coherence and even the vitality of your organs. So when your libido drops, It's not because you're broken, babe. It's because your system is literally conserving energy. Desire, it can shut down when the body doesn't feel safe enough to want. And no supplement, no fantasy, and no partner can override a nervous system that's in survival mode. And that's exactly why I don't treat libido like some goal, but I treat it like a truth teller. Because to me, libido tells me everything that labs often don't. And then there's this component of why so many people are living turned off. And I think it's because we live in a culture that teaches people to override sensation early on, to push through, to stay productive, to be palatable, don't feel too much, don't want too much. And it's almost like stress becomes a personality. Disassociation becomes normal. And then add trauma, whether big or small, and the body learns vigilance instead of pleasure. And then add digital life, constant input, endless stimulation, and very little actual sensation, and it all makes sense. So I'm not sure that people aren't unmotivated. They're numb. And numbness, it's not a personal failure. It's an adaptation. But turn on living starts when you stop shaming yourself for that adaptation and you start listening to what your system actually needs. Let's take a deep breath together. Turned on living shows up everywhere in how you speak, in how you rest, in how you say no, and how you let yourself be seen, in how you eat, in how you move, in how you stop tolerating deadening dynamics. Some of the most turned on moments in my life have had nothing to do with sex. They've had to do with a creative surge or a deep exhale, a slow morning, a clean, clear boundary, telling the truth. Turned on living means your energy is available to your daily life, not leaking, not locked down, not performed, but available. And here's the part that nobody really wants to hear, but everyone needs to. You cannot live turned on when you're in fight or flight. You simply cannot access pleasure while your system is scanning for danger. Safety comes before sensation. And safety does not mean boring. Regulation doesn't flatten you. Regulation gives you capacity. And this is why acupuncture is so powerful. This is why your breath matters. This is why ritual matters. Because when the nervous system feels resourced, desire, it returns naturally, almost effortlessly, and not as some pressure that you're putting on yourself, but as availability. In quantumly kinky terms, eros is not just sexual energy. Eros is organizing intelligence. It's the force that pulls you toward more coherence, more truth, and more aliveness. Because arousal is information. Your pleasure is orientation. Your sensations, they're feedback. And so Eros doesn't demand, but it reveals. And when you learn to listen to it, rather than override it, your life starts making so much more sense because your body stops fighting you. So what changes when you live turned on? Well, when people start living turned on, I notice a few things that usually happen. They stop over-explaining. They stop tolerating deadness, that energy that just doesn't light you up or feel alive in your life. You let it go. They rest better. Their relationships get cleaner, more exciting. Their desires, they usually get simpler, and their choices get slower, but truer. They don't need as much external validation because they trust themselves more. And they don't confuse intensity with intimacy. They stop trying to earn pleasure, and they just allow. So here's my invitation to you this week. Not a checklist, not another protocol, just curiosity. Today, I want you to ask your body, where am I alive? Where am I numb? What feels like restoration? What feels like depletion? And instead of fixing anything, just listen. Turn on living begins the moment that you stop forcing and you start relating to your sensations, to your pleasure, to that inner knowing. Turned on living isn't something that you achieve. It's something you remember. It's your body reclaiming its intelligence, your desires reclaiming their voice, and your life reclaiming its pulse. And this is exactly why I named my clinic Dr. Veda's Turned On Clinic. Because the work I do is not about fixing people. It's about helping your system come back online safely, intelligently, and honestly. The Turned On Clinic opens the first week of March, and it exists because turned on living is not a luxury. It's a foundation. It is the ground beneath sexual vitality, beneath longevity, and beneath emotional coherence. It's also beneath a life that actually feels worth inhabiting. And this is the medicine I practice. This is the work I offer. And this is what I'm devoted to, helping as many people as I can on this time ship earth live turned on. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Quantumly Kinky with Dr. Veda. Until next time, stay turned on.